Ladies and gentlemen, Enshrouded continues to get packed full of updates, with bringing some major changes to the game. This survival RPG has been available to play for just a bit over a year at this point, with the most recent major update being the Pact of the Flame. So whether you've been following this game throughout all of its updates so far, or tried it at launch and haven't seen what the hell happened to it since, maybe it's just your first time seeing it and could have no clue what it is, either way, you must give this game your attention because it's truly something special and something you're not going to want to miss out on. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe to stay up to date on all the upcoming games you're not going to want to miss. So I've been keeping a very close eye on this game and its changes, and with this next title update in the game, I wanted to bring you all through this journey. Go over what the game is at its core, what makes it special, and what has changed over the span of its release. And quick side note, even as of right now, the most recent reviews of this game on Steam is sitting at 83% positive, which is definitely nothing to scoff at. With all that being said, for everyone that's completely new to this game, this is often referred to as a survival action RPG, but that's not in-depth enough to really get the identity of what this game really is and what makes it so special. First off, this game gives a very deep commitment of giving other players an insane amount of freedom and control in the building system, allowing people to create honestly anything your imagination could think of. I'm not exaggerating here, people. Whatever you could think, you could bring right into this game itself. The developers put together a collection of some of their favorite builds centered around Halloween last year as a great example of what you can do. And when I say you can create anything that you can imagine, I'm sure a lot of you were just like, yeah, you could build a nice castle, or, you know, a sizable mansion, maybe even a nice wizard tower. No, not good enough. It's time to expand your thought process a little bit, because here is a full-on magical compound built around a jack-o'-lantern carved into a massive rock. This is essentially a magic floating castle with a boatload of guards posted up, chilling in the sky. It's absolutely beautiful, and this is just one of the millions of examples of what could be accomplished with the building system that is in Enshrouded. We also need to keep in mind that, yes, this is a full-on multiplayer game with up to 16 player servers, so you can go ahead and build these wonderful creations together. And while you're enjoying your time together, taking part in the expansive creative building side of the game, we also got to keep in mind the whole action RPG side of it as well. Questing through the world, adventuring through the lands of Embervale, full of beasts and creatures of various kinds, enemies both magical, also more humanoid as well, and an entire combat system built around all of this that gives the players themselves access to magic options on top of melee and ranged combat. Another piece of this game that I really like and I end up talking about often, and what I feel is the developer's way of them expressing respect to players' time, is in most survival games, you have to continuously eat food, drink water, or you're just gonna die if you don't maintain these things. Well, in Enshrouded, food still exists, and it does have timers related to it, but not the way you think. Because if you don't eat food, like ever, nothing bad is going to happen to you. You just happen to get buffs if you decide to take part in that mechanic. So instead of punishing you for not participating in that survival mechanic, you're instead rewarded if you do the survival game mechanic. And that just takes a lot of the survival game maintenance requirements away that I really don't tend to like anyways. So since launch, there's been 5 main title updates, adding a boatload of new content to every side of the game, from entirely new regions being added to the world to work through, brand new enemies to fight, the ability to tame animals, or just further expanding on additional tools and options to use when creating your masterpiece of a house or castle or whatever it is you're trying to make. So with this latest patch, I wanted to start with the combat changes here, with one of the most notable changes being the parry indicators in certain situations, including all parry indicators against non-humanoid enemies to make them more clear, making it easier to actually parry beasts and monsters as well. And there's also now a visual indicator when parrying projectiles that, when done correctly, it will let you send that projectile back at the enemy who fired it, which is like one of the coolest interactions in combat as far as I'm concerned anyways. They also adjusted the skill tree for the game, so now we're able to refund 1 skill point at a time instead of having to redo the whole tree just to change like 1 or 2 things. And if you were looking for a little bit more activity going on at your base, here's the Dune Armadillo, a new tameable animal with this update that you can not only bring back to your base once you tame it, but you can also have these baby ones hanging around too. And these guys, come on, they're just so freaking cute and a wonderful addition to the game. Now let's talk about some of these social features that they added to the game, specifically the addition to both a text chat in-game as well as a voice chat feature that you can activate if you wish. But not only is there voice chat as a standard globally active feature, so you could talk to everyone on the server at the same time, but instead of doing that, you can also set it up for a proximity voice instead, kind of like how Phasmophobia does it, which means you can only hear the people that are near you, with them being louder the closer you are. And this is something I'm a huge fan of, and it's it's always capable of leading into some extremely funny and memorable in-game moments when playing video games with your friends, in my experience. Now, for those of you that like to be more silent and let your actions speak louder than words, don't worry, they got you covered too, adding an emote wheel with a full 8-option emote selection so you can express yourself in all situations, like when you're feeling a nice dance coming your way, or if you want to point at something. You know, the only two most important human emotions, of course. Then on the building section of this update, there were a few things added that give a little bit extra polish and make this building system for absolutely everyone. And the first main feature being implemented is a first-person camera mode when using the building hammer, adding just like a boatload of more potential when you're trying to make these more precise movements, specifically when you're setting up smaller items. And I would actually expect to see most of the players who spent their building time creating these larger creations to end up swapping over to the first-person camera view as a whole now that it's available. The second thing I was most excited about is that most of your materials are now usable directly from your magical chests, which is just your inventory used in camp. So instead of having to go back and forth carrying everything that you planned on using at the time of building. And there's also 2 brand new tools for building as well. We have ourselves an overgrowth tool, which can add or remove vines from your structure, giving it more of that lived-in feel or not lived in for a very long time feel, whatever floats your boat really. And there's also a decay tool to decoratively decay your structures to change their visuals, which of course won't actually destroy them or weaken anything, it's just straight aesthetics. On top of this, various parts of the world has been completely overhauled in general, with changes to already existing settlements in the game, to adding all brand new settlements as well across the already existing map. But with all these changes and updates to what was already an expansive, creative building system, seeing even more control and even more freedom being bestowed upon the players is an amazing thing to have happen. And whether you were someone who has never seen Enshrouded before now, or you played it in the early days and just haven't checked back in a while, so much has changed over the full year now. From the deeper RPG side of the game to the creative building, there's just a lot of fun to be had with this for pretty much everyone, and I would not want you to miss this blast of enjoyment if this is something that you typically enjoy. And if you're looking for something else to do, check out some of these playthroughs coming up on your screen next. Toodles!